Hi, it's Avraham Goldhar from goldharschool.com, home of big picture Jewish education. And if there was ever a big picture issue to deal with, it's probably one's sense of identity, because how you understand who you are defines every choice you make. It decides your future and the path you're going to take in life. It defines how you present yourself to everybody around you and how they eventually come to see you in large part. So understanding your identity is central, and it's really the starting point for understanding everything else, specifically and especially when it comes to being Jewish, because there's so much to understand. So the question we're going to start with, what is the foundation of Jewish identity? I mean, is it a religion? Is it a race? Is it a philosophy? Is it ethics behind our identity? Is it a culture? Which one of these is perhaps the foundation for all the others? I mean, each one clearly is part of being Jewish, but is there one that stands out amongst the others? And I'm going to say actually none of the above. The foundation of a Jewish identity is nationhood. And I'm going to present now in the first segment here that nationhood is the starting point to understand what it means to be a Jew. And the way that we can see this very clearly is that when you look in our tradition, the first thing is God says to Abraham, go to a land and I will make you into a great nation. He doesn't say I'm going to make you into a great religion. It's a great nation. He says to Moses, when it comes time for Egypt, tell Pharaoh to send my nation out to a land flowing with milk and honey. So it's again to get my not religious followers, but my nation out. Then the message from God at Mount Sinai is you will become a treasured nation. And then the prophet Isaiah says that our mission as a people is to be a light unto the nations. And then everybody knows who's ever been to a synagogue that when someone's been called up to the Torah for the Torah reading, they make a special blessing. The blessing states, blessed are you, God, King of the universe, who chose us from among all the nations. So nationhood is the framework to understand all the other features, our culture, our ethics, our philosophy, and so on, our religion. Everything is under the banner or within the framework of nationhood. And once we have this clear, it begins to make sense a major distinction between Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Because there are 26 nations in the world that have the official religion of Islam, and there are 18 nations currently that have the official religion of Christianity. But there's only one Jewish nation. You see, there's a major difference if your identity stems from a religious perspective or from a national perspective. The definition of a religion is it's an organized system of beliefs, ceremonies, and rules used to worship a god or a group of gods. That's Christianity and that's Islam. It's not bound to a specific land. It's a belief system about a god, and that can be done anywhere in the world. The definition of a nation is it's a large body of people associated with a particular territory that is sufficiently conscious of its unity to seek or possess a government peculiarly their own. So a nation is bound to a land. And therefore, just like there's only one United States, one Canada, one South Africa, one Italy, one Germany, one France, there's only one Israel. Now, it's true, we do have beliefs about God clearly, and we do have ways of worshiping God, and we're going to get to that. But I want to stress here that it's through the lens of being a nation that we can understand so much about what Judaism and Jews are about, because nation explains why the Torah presents an entire legal system. Right? We have civil and criminal law, we have zoning laws, we have banking systems, we have labor law. Right? We have a whole system of running a nation that's part and parcel of what we're all about. Nationhood also explains why Jews don't aggressively seek converts. I mean, have you ever wondered, why aren't Jews out there aggressively getting people to believe what we believe, like the other religions have done so well at? I mean, we've been around for 3,000 years, and we're pretty good at marketing. There should be like trillions of Jews at this point. But the fact of the matter is we don't aggressively seek converts because we look at conversion through the national lens. And to us, conversion is more like an immigration into the nation. And just like every country has a very firm immigration policy, they want to ensure that people coming to the country are going to uphold the laws of the land and be upright citizens. Similarly, we have to ensure the exact same thing. So we don't aggressively encourage people to join us unless they can maintain the standards that we're here to set. Finally, nationhood explains why anti-Semites continuously seek to delegitimize Israel. Because they know that if they can undermine the foundation of our identity and take away the land from underneath us, then the power of the Jewish people to be a light unto nations is not going to happen. And we're not going to succeed at our national mission. Now, I know some people might be wondering, wait a minute, I mean, yes, there is this kind of national component. No, but Judaism, it's really a religion. I want to show you between the two, religion and nationhood, again, how nationhood really is the framework for understanding even what we believe and how we're organized to do so. And I'm going to do that by focusing on a mezuzah, what we find on the doorpost of a Jewish home. And inside every mezuzah, there's a parchment with the Shema prayer. The Shema prayer is like the national anthem of the Jewish people. We say it once in the morning, once at night, before we go to bed at night. And this is what the scroll actually looks like. It's 2 paragraphs here. Now, this is the Hebrew, but what I want to focus on is the second paragraph here of the Shema prayer that we say, again, every day, twice a day, and it's wrapped up in every single mezuzah on every single doorpost. And I'm just going to break this down. I'm going to do it in English, and I'm going to take that second paragraph and do it in sections. So here we go. So the first section goes like this. And it will come to pass that if you continually hearken to my commandments, that I command you today to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will provide rain for your land in its proper time, the early and late rains, that you may gather in your grain, your wine, and your oil. I will provide grass in your field for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. So there you see the whole focus is not if we do everything right and love God and serve him that we'll have like religious ecstasy or we'll have spiritual bliss, we'll all be happy. Rather, we're going to have economic security and the land will flourish. Then it continues. Beware lest your heart be seduced and you turn astray and serve gods of others and bow to them. Then the wrath of God will blaze against you. He will restrain the heaven so there will be no rain, and the ground will not yield its produce, and you will be swiftly be banished from the goodly land which God gives you. So here we see the implications that if we don't adhere to our mission, we're going to lose the land. It doesn't say you're going to lose the great temples where you'd serve God and they're going to be destroyed, but rather we're going to lose the land which we're connected to. And finally, in the last section of that paragraph, it concludes, place these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul. Bind them for a sign upon your arm and let them be to fill in between your eyes. Teach them to your children, to discuss them while you sit in your home, while you walk in your way, when you retire, when you arise, and write them on the doorposts of your house. This is the commandment, the mitzvah to put a mezuzah on our households, and upon your gates, in order for what? To prolong your days and the days of your children upon the ground that God has sworn to your ancestors to give them, like the days of the heaven on the earth. So we see the whole context of a relationship to God is bound to the land of Israel. And we get this reminder every single day we walk through any room that has a mezuzah on the doorpost. But our nationhood is clearly different from other nations, and this is why. First of all, it's a covenantal relationship with God. So it's not just national in a secular way. We became a nation that has a covenant, a deal with God, that he would have a special relationship with us to protect us throughout history. And we would have a responsibility to be his nation, to uphold his ideals and to bring to the world the light that comes through the justice and kindness of his laws. Secondly, our national security and well-being is conditional. So being that it's covenantal, we know that our connection to the land is not something that we can just take for granted. It's a given. It's only there provided that we're living up to our end of the deal. And finally, it includes the possibility of exile in essence. Meaning many people say, look at the Jews, they were kicked out of their land, so it's a proof that, they've been banished by God and that's it, it's over. But no, the Torah tells us, even there in the Shema prayer, we could lose the land, and same Torah tells us that. The Torah tells us later, we'll eventually come back to the land of Israel. But if the Jews are outside the land, they haven't lost their national identity. And that's why Jews outside of Israel are called diaspora Jews. A diaspora Jew is a Jew that's living outside the land of Israel. Okay, so now we've clarified the first step in building a clear Jewish identity is to know that the overall framework is national. Now we got to get to the religious side of the coin, because we all know that Judaism is very much a part of being Jewish. And you're going to see by focusing on one core belief how Judaism fits into the picture.